Hi everybody, Rad Mom here. Welcome back to the channel. Where today we're going to be looking at a video from Blaire White. Not because of how high profile this person is, but because of the amazing lack of self-awareness on display in the video where he's complaining about the fat positivity movement and how it is hurting people.
Meanwhile, Tess Holliday is up here speaking at the United Nations after a clear-cut example here of leading a young girl into death.
He goes through a litany of victims of the fat positivity movement.
Jamie Lopez is another example of a young woman died at 37. And this one is really sad.
And accuses Tess Holliday of being a leader of a dangerous cult.
Tess Holliday, who sees herself as some sort of fat Rosa Parks, is, in my opinion, more like a fat Charles Manson. Just a cult leader. Literally led this girl to death.
Project much? Sometimes we look for projection, but today's video is essentially 100% projection. I want to even say that, like, the fat positivity movement is to the body what the trans rights movement is to the mind, right? We're just going to indulge in all our worst impulses and call it liberation.
I often say that when an idea just doesn't make any sense and it flies in the face of logic just so hard, but people are so hell-bent on believing it, half the time when it makes no sense, it's because it's like a sex thing. I believe this. The furry thing doesn't make sense. So for me, it's like, that's a sex thing. A lot of these trannies coming up, I look at that and I'm like, oh, that's a sex thing. That's not the same. No.
Did you catch that? That's going to be our one example of self-awareness in the video, so treasure it.
A lot of the times it's true. We are beings that, sex is like our fuel, and it's wild, but it is.
And I think here we're going to draw a little bit of a distinction between like the impulse for physical intimacy versus like the classical sense of like the libido, the lust for life, okay? Which, like, Freud was not just talking about lust sexually. There's more to it than that.
So if you ever had a sneaking suspicion that the fat positive movement is just a sex thing, there's some validity to that.
I encourage everybody to go and watch Blaire's original video. He does bring some receipts about the history of the fat positivity movement as a fetish organization founded by some men who were not fat themselves. So that is kind of strange. The trans movement is clearly a sex thing in that it is a sexual thing, because y'all are so preoccupied with your sex and what that means for you in society and in life.
Forcing someone or encouraging someone to eat themselves to death, you gotta be checked. You're a sick.
But that's a good point. You're encouraging other people to engage in self-harm for your own personal benefit. Yeah, you got to be checked.
And now you have a bunch of women, young, confused women on TikTok that have fallen into this group that was started to fetishize their body. And they think it's about self-love.
Does that sound familiar? Who's the leader of an evil cult, Blaire?
Jamie Lopez is another example of a young woman died at 37. She had a TV show centered around her and all the other employees being morbidly obese.
You ready to get supersized? You better go big or go home.
The all new series.
That is like some dystopian nightmare fuel. That is horrifying that television show existed in the first fucking place. You want to talk about enabling somebody's destructive behavior, right? How many trans people have television shows based around the fact that they are a trans person? How many media personalities have based their entire brand around the fact that they're a trans person? I don't know, Blaire. Why don't you answer that one? I think you're the expert on that.
The whole gag of it was like, we're big and we're beautiful and we're salon workers and we can do what you can do, and you can't do what we can do because your legs are going to give out, your heart's going to give out. It's just, these are just simple facts.
He's getting so snide here. He's really enjoying projecting this onto these people.
And why y'all get so upset about simple, inoffensive truths beyond me. Beyond me.
Is it though? Is it beyond you how people might get upset at basic truths? Is that beyond you? Really? Like the fact that you're a man This clearly upsets you. And I know that Blaire doesn't claim to be a woman, which is nice, but look at him. He's clearly upset by the idea that he is a dude. That clearly bothers him. He cannot see a dude in the mirror.
It's not fat phobic to care about your health.
And as you can imagine, of course, those ladies are getting massive amounts of hate because they dare to not want to die.
Just like detransitioners get massive amounts of hate for daring to accept reality.
This is just how people are hardwired. And just like so many other regressive social movements that are literally just trying to erode basic truths, basic inoffensive truths, like I said, when your goal is to undo evolution, you're not going to be successful.
How is he not talking about the trans movement right now? And anybody who wants to tell me that he's not a part of the trans movement because he's not a TRA, look at this person who is glorifying this lifestyle. For conservative people, ooh, that's so different. I don't give a shit.
But it also creates a never-ending problem, right? So you can always run your mouth. Because the problem can't be fixed. You set up a problem that can't be fixed, and you're going to be fighting it for eternity.
Like the fact that you're a man.
But a shortened eternity, because you're not going to live as long.
Okay, and this is where I'm going to get a little bit controversial and offer just as many receipts on this as he does, which is that hormone replacement therapy is dangerous, even under the best of conditions. Women going through menopause and stuff only undergo hormone replacement therapy traditionally because the risk of osteoporosis and stuff outweighs the risk of cancer. Hormone replacement therapy incredibly raises your risk of cancer. And so this has traditionally been a balancing act, a pros and cons weigh out that you're supposed to do. And the idea is that the risks of not going on hormone replacement therapy for a trans person would be suicide, which would be worse, right, than hypothetical cancer risk. Okay, fine, but why don't we address the risk of suicide then? Because therapy never causes cancer.
The sky is blue. I didn't make it so.
Nothing keeps a population more oppressed than keeping them in a constant state of poor health.
And this is what really caught my attention. Is like, really, Blaire? You're going to sit here and talk to us about social engineering? You look like a porn star.
And if you can convince that population that self-harm they're engaging in is actually self-love, just gaslight them right to their faces. No, you love yourself if you glutton yourself to the point where you're not mobile. Tess Holliday is inspirational.
No, you love yourself if you slice yourself up to resemble the opposite sex. Blaire White is inspirational. I can literally just flip this around on you, and you're sitting here saying this with a straight face in front of a camera, which says to me that you have a serious lack of self-awareness on this point, which is what makes you look crazy, frankly.
But sometimes you get yourself to a certain point and it's just over. It's a wrap.
Sometimes you paint yourself into a corner that there is no way out of. You are stuck with the choices that you have made, and you got to make the best of them. Right, Blaire? So I thought this one was kind of a gimme, admittedly, but I just couldn't not do this. This was so obvious to me, and the fact that it's not apparently at all obvious to him, just how incredibly hypocritical he looks here. It's really the lack of self-awareness that is the difference between somebody who has their shit under control and has their shit together and somebody who doesn't. I don't care how functional you look on the other side of a camera. That's crazy talk. And I have been Rad Mom. Thank you for joining me here in my bedroom tonight. Come back at the top of the hour for the live stream and discussion. And I'll see you next week on Wednesday with a new video. And have a good one. See you later. Bye.